Good day, everyone. It's Sean from uhaulcamper here. I'm going to do a quick walk around video, hopefully here, of our camper. Been wanting to do for a while now that we've got some renovations done. Feels like a good time to do it. Hopefully give you some ideas for those of you who have small campers. And hopefully for those that have never seen one or that are looking at one online, you can find this and give you an idea of what to expect and what it can look like when you go look at it and think about buying one. The uhaulcampers, this one is a 13-foot model. They do make a 16, but they're more rare. The 13-foot ends up being about, because that includes all the way to the tongue, so it ends up being about 10 or so feet of usable space inside. So you have to be really creative about all of the ways that you can utilize it because it is a small space. Now we have 2 kids and sometimes a couple dogs with us. We got to be really creative there on our space usage. 2 things to talk about before we go inside. Outside here we have a, this is where the old propane heater used to vent. I pulled ours out. It was finicky and very loud. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So we mostly camp at campgrounds, so we've moved to have hookups. So we've moved to using a small ceramic plug-in heater, 120 volt heater that we can plug in, that usually gives us enough of of heat to fill that small space in there. So that's good. This is actually a Jeep door, a gas door that I installed here. It's installed technically upside down, the opposite normal direction. That's so water can drain out if it does happen to get inside. And then what I've installed in here is a 12 volt outlet to give us a little bit of extension on the electrical system. We can plug something in out here, and lights or something like that. So you could also do a 120 volt outlet there if you wanted to, but it's just an idea. The other thing that I've done is added one of these screen rooms, or not screen room, but a screen. This is one of those as seen on TV ones. So not specifically designed for this. It's made for houses with like sliding doors or something like that to go out. So we did have to resew it, cut it and resew it to fit. But it is nice because it has the magnets that close back together. And as you see inside, it holds up with Velcro. So as we walk inside, so it's Velcro taped up there, so you can take it down, you can keep it up, and it's pretty solid. So it's been a good investment. We like it so far. You could do a lot of different options with that, but that's what we've gone with. So even though it's one large room, what we have gone to doing is kind of thinking of it as 3 separate spaces. So the first thing we'll talk about is the kids' bedroom. So the kids' bedroom basically is made up of the bunks up front. This becomes a bench. The legs down here will fold up and it swings back. It's got a piano hinge on the back here that holds the top of the bunk. Swings back and becomes a bench if you're not using it as bunks. Of course, we have 2 kids, so we use it as bunks. And the top one is my son's bunk. This was normally the rock guard would be open. That's the part on the front there that's closed right now. And he's got the curtains he can pull closed. Also have added a reading light for him over here. This is just a board that I put together to go up here very easily to kind of keep him from rolling out the top. These is L brackets that attach to the bottom of the bunk, the top bunk, and then some wing nuts here so that if we do need to fold it down, we can disassemble this fairly quickly if we need to turn it back into the bench. Now down low is my daughter's bunk, and it's a little bit tighter on space, but she's the younger of kids, so she can be down here. Added some lighting for her over here as well. You will also see these use twin sheets, but they are a little bit big. So my wife has this sheet strap up here that's holding them to try to hold them together, keep them from going apart, as well as when we get back here, it keeps it from hanging down and into the lower bunk and just the extra material hanging down. So for my daughter, my wife has made these little curtains here that tie up to the poles. You can see the poles here in the back. And so the poles, so this is so she can untie them and pull them together. They're on a curtain rod wire, and she can pull them together and close herself up in there. When she was younger, my wife had sewn and you'll see some of older Instagram photos and stuff, and on the blog, she had sewn a material to slide over the poles that was taut across here that kind of kept her from rolling out of the bottom bunk, and then she would just enter through the end. It was kind of like her little cave back there where she could go in and all. But now we've opened it up a little more. She likes it better because she likes to be able to come in this way because she's a little bigger now. So she is 8, so she enjoys being able to just kind of crawl in this direction versus trying to shimmy in through the end. Below we have well, our ant spray that I put out when we get to camp, but we also have our porta potty that we keep down here. And this is, you know, in case we need to stop on the side of the road with the kids, or if we have to, you know, it's middle of the night or it's pouring rain or freezing cold and they don't want to leave the camper to go to the bunkhouse, to the bathhouse, then we can have that available for their use. So that's the kids' room. We used to also have, and we may go back to doing something, but we used to have a curtain too that we would set up here that would come across that my son could have to kind of cut himself off from the rest of the area here to give him some privacy. Here is our kitchen. I've redone the kitchen. So a couple of things there. New countertop that I made. I pulled out the old stove, the sink, the faucet, and the hood vent and replaced all of those. First, let's talk about the sink. So this is exactly like the original sink, same size, same everything. The original sink had rusted the mounting bolts and they sheared off, so I had to get a new one. But you can get these on eBay. They're not too expensive. They're the same size that are used for boats. So you can usually find one fairly easily. There's also an SMEV version similar to this that has like a glass top over it. But I just went with a cheaper version of this. Replace the original 2-way pump. We don't use the onboard water tank. So replaced it with this. We usually use water from the city hookups. And so this is a bar faucet. So regular sink faucets tend to be like too big for this space. And you know, bathroom faucets a lot of times tend to be a little too small. So a mini bar faucet is the perfect size. It really fits, it looks well, and we've enjoyed it. If you do go to one of these instead of using a 2-way faucet that can pull from either side, or you don't have a hot water, if you want to, you can install a hot water heater. We don't have hot water, but you can, I just heat stuff up on the stove if I need hot water. But you want to make sure that because it's a 2-line, it's got a hot and a cold, that you either cap the line that you're not, the hot line off if you're not using it, or you can get like a T connector to go in and connect both of them into that. So it doesn't really matter if you have it turned toward hot or cold, it's still all coming through from the same pipe. So the other thing that we have an issue with some of the originals was some leaking of rainwater through the vent outside into this and then down onto the old original stove. Causes this to rust out and that to rust out. So I've replaced this, refixed the vent on the outside so it won't leak. And then this is an SMEV stove, and I went with this because it's flat. It has this glass top, stove's inside, so when you're using it, you can open it up. But when you're not, it gives you nice surface space that's the same level. The original one sat up a little bit above, and then the previous owner we had built like a thing to go over top of it, and it wasn't level either, by the way. The stove wasn't, so you couldn't really sit stuff on it. They built a box to go over the top of it, which made it even taller. So then by the time, you know, there just wasn't a lot of space between that and the hitting your hand or anything on top of that. So I went with this to kind of give more space and kind of sink it down in there into the counter versus it sitting on top of the counter. Up top here we have our 2 upper storage areas. Some people have the campers that have them with the inner linings, and some people do not. Some people just have the doors. If you don't have the inner lining, some people like it without the linings. They feel like you get more space because you get to use the whole thing, but you probably need to refinish it because it's raw fiberglass back there, and you want to make sure that you're not running into all the electrical wires. I like having the cubbies because the liners here, because it's I've got electrical that I've redone back there to add lighting and stuff, and so I don't really want to run into all that or knock things into it. So and I didn't want to take time to refinish it, so it'd be smooth. So I like these, and I've kept these. One of the things that we have done with this is we repainted them from the original yellow, and then as you'll see, I have also added a light setup here. There's information about that on our blog, but basically it's a license plate LED type light with a drawer switch, light switch for like a normal cabinet would be in the house. And so that's wired up. It is 12 volt. And that way it provides some light in there, because it is a little darker since we painted it gray, but gray is kind of the color theme we wanted to go with. So trying to make it look nice and uniform. So adding the light helps, in my opinion, be able to see better inside. So, all right, down low we have a storage area over here that's under the sink. It's very shallow. There's not a lot of space in it. Some people take it off and just leave it as open access to the under sink area. You have to pull the liner out if you need to get under the sink. We usually keep a tiny trash can in there, and I've got an outlet box in there for 120, so I can plug in like a fan. If in the summer we have a cylinder fan we usually take with us. In the winter we have the little heater, ceramic heater that sits on the floor, so I can plug those in there. Over here we've got, there's more information about that, what I did there, also on the blog on the electrical stuff. Here's our fridge we've had for a long time. It's a 1.9 cubic foot fridge that I installed. It is just a regular dorm fridge. It only will work if we're on the 120 hooked up at the shore power. So that's something to consider. If you are not going to do that, you'll want to make sure you have at least a 2-way that runs on propane, or you can go with a 3-way, but those are way more expensive, and I didn't feel like I would use it enough, so I have not opted. We may in the future decide to go to a 2-way, but right now just felt like we weren't going to use it to recoup the cost of paying for it. So, and our floors that we've redone with these laminate boards that are really cool and waterproof and sweep out easily. All right, so as we move over here to the closet area on the other side here, added a light up top here. We've got some hooks we added here for hanging, well, these are towels that my wife has hung up here right now, but rain jackets or whatever, hats. We've added some of those. The space heater, or the heater, the propane heater, used to be down here. One of the things we have done is, when we got rid of it, is I put in this this sliding drawer. It's on an actual slide, so it could slide way back in there and come all the way out. Gives us ability to use that space for storage. Also with the electrical, replace the old original analog switch for measuring like the battery percentages and stuff. And so this is the current monitoring system I put in, as well as the controller for the thing to tell it, like, to put it in storage mode or when charging or whatever. Let me open the cabinet here. Oops. There you go. So as we open the closet, you can see, so the closet was originally, I think, designed with the idea that people would hang their clothes up in here with a bar across there, and raw fiberglass walls. So what I have done is I have gone in and built a shelving unit in here. We like having the clear storage bins you can see in there. The kids you can tell them to come in here and get something, and see exactly which bucket they need to grab it out of. And this shelving is solid wood, that I used to build this in. Doing the walls with the wood here helps, 'cause it supports the shelves, but it also helps because when I put those hangers or anything I mount to the sidewalls, instead of it just being, only contained by the weight that the fiberglass can hold, now I've got wood backing it, so I can get a lot more weight. It keeps it from like pulling out of the wall or something. So I really like that we've got the wood sidewalls there for that. But there's lots of different ways. We used to have a plastic 3-drawer container in here, basically, for many years, until I redid this past year, and decided to build it in and make it a little bit more organized and neater. And so we've really enjoyed having that now. I also installed light in there so that we've got some lighting inside the cabinet. Oops. Pull that out, close that. So the next room, final room, is the bedroom, the main bedroom area. So this is my wife and I's bed. This is also where you would normally find the table. So it pops up into a table, or it folds down into a bed. We usually tend to eat outside, and I take a screen room with us so that we can eat out there, even if it's raining or whatever. So we don't normally eat in the camper. You know, it's just more of like a bunkhouse for us. So while we leave the bed full-time made as a bed, you know, obviously there's different options to that, but that's what we do. The bed is now made up permanently with like I can't remember if I used 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood across the bottom, board all the way from side to side. So we're not dealing with the table that would pop up and down. And then we've got memory foam that we've installed. And this uses full size. It's a bit weird. The back corners are curved, but it does fit a full size sheet set. And what we did with what I had to do was take an electric knife to cut the memory foam to the curve so that it would fit. So you could do that if you want to put a mattress in. The other thing that we have done is added this is again the wire, the coated kind of stretchy wire that's used for all and this is the original too, that was used for the curtains. This came off the front. The old ones had a top and a bottom wire with the original curtains, and so it went through the curtain, and you would have to slide it on both the top and the bottom, but it doesn't slide very easily. So we moved to just using the top ones with some hooks and stuff that my wife set up so that we could just slide it open and close very easily. So we didn't use the bottom ones, so I'm reusing the bottom ones for things like this. But you can buy this online too. But we've gone with just adding a curtain here that we've done and that gotten sewn up and cut to the right level. But this curtain allows us to kind of separate off. It also limits, like I can have the lights on inside our bedroom area there, and it not impact the kids if they're over here sleeping. So because we have a reading light back there too. So this allows us to get a little bit of privacy from the kids, section it off. Also, because most of us just stand in this one little floor spot right here. You can see how small the floor space is. This is where we normally change clothes, you know, if somebody comes in or changes. So that allows you, if you still have all the windows open, you can just pull that across, and then you got the door shut over here. And then you can change clothes and not have to worry about going and closing every single window and then opening them back up. I have installed a fantastic fan up top. The original came with a swamp cooler, but we're in Georgia where it's very humid, and so swamp coolers don't really work. So I went with a fantastic fan and have enjoyed it. The one that we have is a remote control, which I keep over here next to the bed so that we can turn it on remotely. And that also helps in the winter. But we do not have an air conditioning in the unit as of now. Something we're looking at but haven't done yet. You can see there's our reading light and place to hang my hats. So that's our camper. Like I said, really small, but you can get creative in thinking about how you use the small spaces in some of these campers. We normally store our clothes, by the way, in little boxes that we slide under there on the trip, under the bed. That's what we use the underbed storage for. When we're traveling. But I hope this has given you some ideas, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the little walk around. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, check out our Instagram if you want to see pictures of our trips and stuff, and check out the blog if you want more specifics on something. I'll try to do some more videos about some other specific things that I've got coming up, hoping soon to add a second battery to the system. So we'll see how that goes. But from now, thank you very much and have a great day.